Record. Hey everybody, it's great to be with you. Long day and a day full of technical difficulties, but that's all right. This is a recap of the show and a lot of information tonight. A lot of information that oftentimes I think gets lost because it doesn't really seem tangible. $16 trillion doesn't seem tangible. When I play how the debate's being shaped and discussed, we hear about these cuts and we want to help people, but government is attempting to squeeze competitors out of the service field. You see, as Christians, we help those in need. We're commanded to do so. And when a government puts a mandate that you violate your beliefs through the HHS mandate regarding abortifacients, they're squeezing out because they don't like competition, but also it goes into the idea of power too. Now, I'm not saying this is conspiratorial, it's just a reality that why on earth would you not attempt to put the best system in place to help those in need? And the reason is it doesn't become about helping the people in need. It becomes about the program and the people who are employed by the program and the political weapon that program becomes when you talk about cutting it. The entire conversation of healthcare in this country is ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous because it's not based on how is it do we empower consumers? How is it that we learn from experience when it comes to the free market? How is it that we get the consumer and the provider directly linked in order to establish price? How is it that we think the government's going to be able to defy the laws of economics when it comes in and takes over compensating providers? How is that? What has happened in the past when government is... I mean, this stuff is so plain. It's so obvious. Yet you still get people going, well, don't you want health care for all? Well, everybody does have access to health care. It's just, what is the best system to take care of those in need? And how do we empower people to be accountable for their decisions? How do we give them the freedom of accountability? And we've gotten into a place where the vast majority of people who are receiving government benefits in the sense of the entitlement state haven't looked at what the funding mechanism is for those entitlements. And they stand by the fact that, hey, paid my payroll tax. I paid those. Great, I deserve what I get. Okay, and we'll keep the promises to a certain point about those going into the program, about to go into the program, and those currently in the program. But then we're going to change because we don't have the money and we're paying out more than we take in. And we've been doing that. And the money that was supposed to be there is not there. How do you have a reasonable discussion about that when everybody's sitting there going, well, just don't touch my benefits. Don't, we'll try means testing. We already are. There are means tested programs within Medicare. How do you do this? Especially when you've got somebody going, you know what? The people that want to reform the program, advocates for it, they just want to protect the very wealthy. Well, a few things about the very wealthy. One, I don't dislike the very wealthy. I don't know, on a group, I don't dislike them merely because they produced a lot. In fact, that would be great to produce a lot, to expand one's territory, one's resources, to be able to help people. I think that's a pretty good thing. And when you're supplying and taking care of a need and creating jobs and offering opportunity, I think that's a pretty good thing. I don't want to demonize them. Oh, the wealth thing, though. The wealth. They have that money, and why don't we ask how they got that money? Because they earned it. Government did not. They did. They earned the money. Now, I know you, like me, and so many of us realize that in order to be successful and use our God-given gifts, we got to work pretty hard. And there are times we're going to fail. And we got to make tough decisions throughout. And sometimes still things go the wrong way. There's no guarantee. Yet, there's the freedom in order to participate and display and to exercise those skills, those gifts, to use them. And when a government says, because the government's speaking in the form of what we hear from our president, we need more money to make things work here, and you look at the models of the program, take the paradigm of how the program is administered, what the cost truly is, and don't ignore the bureaucratic cost and play games with that. Look at the administration of what service they are trying to provide. Look at the result of what they are doing to solve said problem, said challenge. Also look at the Constitution to see if it falls within their purview. Oftentimes it doesn't, okay? Go back and read the Heverling decision if you want to see judicial gymnastics. You'll see the Supreme Court become an Olympic team of gymnastics with that decision. The point is, you take those and you look at the result and you say it's unsustainable. Whatever issue, what they say in the beginning, what it turns into, the qualifications for the program, you expand the program, so you're no longer helping the very people that are in dire need, but you're expanding it to 100 to 200 to 300% above the poverty line. And so now we've increased that program. Now people are part of that program. Now, and anytime we cut government, we think of the first responders, the cops, right? Well, security is the #1 job of this country. The federal government's job is to secure people, protect people. So what's going on there? Tell me. What priorities took place before we got to the first responders, the people? How about teachers? Well, that's a state responsibility, so I'm confused on that. And with teachers, we all love teachers, but why should teachers be able to escape the free market? Why should they not be held accountable to their consumers, us? And the best way to do that, not perfect, but the best system that we have is the free market. So liberate people and allow them to choose where they're going to school. That's trusting the American people with their freedom. It's trusting the very people. Look at the DC Scholarship Program. You'll see this. The fact is, you trust people with their freedom. You don't talk about the American people in the sense of, I want to help America, I believe in America. If you believe in America, you believe in freedom, and you believe that the American people, as individuals, who will not finish in the same place, as individuals, will be able to exercise that freedom. And yes, sometimes they will make bad decisions. How will they learn from those bad decisions? With government coming in and protecting them from the consequence? No, you learn from the consequences. You adapt, you overcome. I refuse to accept what President Obama portrays us as a nation of victims. It's absurd. Yet we're buying in. And we're the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Truly, because we're afraid of the freedom. Afraid that if government steps out, we won't be able to step in. Well, I got news for you. If we get closer and a better direct relationship with the programs, with the government, if it's more localized, and, quite frankly, out of the hands of government, federal or state, we're going to be able to handle it. We can do that. Why have we deferred to government? Because we made that Faustian bargain to say, oh, that's the social safety net. We need to do it. And we're rich enough as a country. Well, how do we get, quote, rich? Did we do it through central planning? No, we did not. In fact, we liberated the entrepreneur. And that's what Reagan did, and that's what Clinton did. Both strong dollar presidents, by the way. Another discussion all the way. But as you're hearing this debate about sequester and about how harmful the cuts are, I mean, Boehner's coming out, the cuts are harmful and they're going to harm. I mean, I'm hearing, wait a second, where's the party, where's the group of people that say, you know what, government's not supposed to be there. And if government's cutting the very thing they're supposed to be there for, then where else are they spending the money that is supposed to go to those people, to those areas? Tell me. Because only 18 to 22% goes to the military, national security. The rest, over half, goes to entitlements. And how is it that we are spending more than any other year in our history, other than 2011, and these draconian cuts, cutting government 1.3%, discretionary spending? That was increased by 60%. Since 2008, we saw that. Why is it that even with the cuts, we'd still be spending $60 billion more than 2008? Well, we've got to ask ourselves these questions, because what's being presented is not the reality. And that's not about ours, that's not about these, that's just about the truth. We should embrace our freedom. We know where our rights come from. And if we know that, we have a responsibility to advocate for our freedom. And be it with a tax code that is perverse, a government that will promise the world while it doesn't have the resources to follow through. These are the things we have to deal with. Anyway, tonight's show, had a lot of fun, enjoyed it. James S. Robbins gave us the headline. The headline of the show for James S. Robbins was the CIA director nominee, former counterterrorism advisor, and veteran of the CIA, 25 years, by the way. Did he concoct the story? Was it John Brennan who came up with the story of going with the video and blaming it on the video? And what did those 70 email exchanges, what did they detail? What exactly did the president say, and what did he do when it came to executing a plan in response to Benghazi while it was happening? We talked with Tad DeHaven about government's role, and that's inevitably what the discussion has been about. And he's worked with Coburn. I mean, he has an incredible experience in this field. So go back, check out the interview. We talked with Adam Gillette from the Moving Picture Institute, which I finally got right, I think. There he was. He's delightful, but talking about how movies and documentaries are being made, and this moving MPI, thempi.org, is allowing for scholarships and development deals for directors that have the talent to produce these documentaries that advocate for liberty. So he was detailing that, and then the next hour we got going on what I just actually summed up again, but I demonstrated just how biased the mainstream media is in its presentation, and quite frankly lying by omission and pointing to the crisis at hand as opposed to the context, the greater context. Talked about tax rates and a whole host of things there of who pays what, and the idea that, well, why don't we just tap into these people? See, I just find that to be truly unfair. I think progressive taxation is unfair, it's wrong, and it only empowers government and only divides us, and plays into us violating the 10th commandment. Oh, and I told a story about, I'll finish that story tomorrow, about Vice President Biden's advice regarding guns and defense and survivors of crime, assaults, and that kind of thing. So we'll talk more about that. I have my own story about the fact that one person was in Colorado. The state senator was advocating. Was it? I hope it wasn't tickling. No, that was Todd Starnes commenting on it. No, it was ballpoint pens. Almost as ridiculous. All right, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Thank you for being with us. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We will have a show preview tomorrow. I won't have the technical glitch that we had today, and if I do, well, we'll just go right through it and we'll just deal with it. we'll get beyond it. Maybe I should just call government and ask for some help. All right. Thank you. Live with honor in your life, compassion in your heart, keep the faith. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. We'll see you next time.